I honestly thought that this would just be a cool camera mod that I would test out for a few minutes, but after walking around like this, normal Baldur's Gate 3 suddenly started to feel strangely distant to me. Lately I've been trying to make videos where I actually try to spend time with the mods and form my own opinion, instead of just simply describing what they do. I've always enjoyed the game, but I was curious whether bringing the camera closer would make me feel more connected to my character and the world, or whether it would just look good for a few clips and become annoying during actual gameplay. I will try to showcase as much as I can in this video. Before using the mod, this is how I normally experience Baldur's Gate 3, and there's obviously nothing wrong with this camera. It gives you a clear view of the party and the environment and everything happening around you. I honestly really like this way. It is perfect for the tactical side of the game, but when I'm simply walking around and exploring, I sometimes feel more like I'm controlling pieces on a board than actually traveling with the party. I never really thought much about it before installing this mod. Then I switched to third person. My first reaction was honestly just, this is much closer than I expected. It is not simply the normal camera just zoomed in, it sits perfectly behind the character and follows the movement like a proper third person game. And almost immediately the world started feeling larger. Buildings that I had previously just treated as background scenery suddenly felt like an actual structure towering above me. Even walking down a normal road felt different because I was now seeing it from my own character's perspective instead of just looking down from above. I actually caught myself stopping several times just to look around. That is probably the biggest surprise for me. The mod did not even add anything new to the world, but it made me pay attention to what was already there, and honestly, some of the scenery was absolutely gorgeous. Traveling with the companions also feels much more personal for this angle. Normally I would just look down on the entire group, but here I can see them walking behind me, moving through doors and reacting to the environments much more closely. It almost gives me a bit of that Dragon Age feeling, not because the combat or gameplay has changed, but because I feel like I'm physically traveling with the party instead of directing them from above. The smaller details also help a lot. When I run, the field of view opens up slightly so movement feels faster and less stiff. When I crouch, the camera moves down with the character instead of remaining the same height. And being able to probably look upward is a much bigger improvement than I expected. Baldur's Gate 3 has so much more detail above the normal camera angle. Ceiling, towers, cliffs and trees. And I had probably ignored most of it during my previous time with the game. For example, I had already passed through the area before, but I had never noticed how large the ruins actually were until I stood underneath them. Exploration is where the mod really shines, but I was worried about the combat. Baldur's Gate 3 needs a wide tactical view. I do not want to fight several enemies while staring directly at the back of my own character. Luckily the camera can automatically pull away when combat begins. You can change the camera settings as you like. I'm not so much of a person who likes to fiddle too much with the settings, so the default settings were fine for me, but you can tweak the settings as you like. I really like this mod as I get to experience the world in a whole new way. But in tighter rooms the camera can sometimes feel a little bit cramped. For example, when I run downstairs or return from camp, it felt like the camera would bug out a little and I had to reset it. I also would not expect every part of such a long game to work flawlessly with the new camera mod. But during the time I tested it, those problems were not enough to make me stop using it. During my testing, I did not encounter anything seriously affecting the experience, but I have not completed the entire game yet with this mod, so later areas may behave differently. After playing like this for a while, I occasionally forgot that I was using a mod, and I think that is one of the biggest compliments you can give to a mod. It feels different enough to make the game fresh again, but not so different that it stops feeling like Baldur's Gate 3.
Not for communal use, it seems. Best show some respect.
So would I play through the entire game with this camera? For exploration, I generally think I would. I still prefer the normal camera during combat, but because you can switch between the two camera angles, it is not really a problem for me. What surprised me the most was not the camera itself, it was how much more attention I started paying to the world. I expected to test this mod, record some footage and then remove it again. But right now I actually do not want to return to the normal exploration camera yet. I'm not completely ready to say if I would use it for an entire playthrough, but I definitely want to keep playing with it and see how it holds up later in the game. Would you play Baldur's Gate from this perspective? I'm thinking about continuing this playthrough with the mod, so let me know if you would like to see a follow-up after I spend much more time with it. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.